back in Clerks days.
Thank you.
My question was, you were just speaking about your daughter. What was it like directing her on the last film you produced?
Honestly, God, I don't want to do an edge off the stage, man. I don't want to wind up on the internet with like, look at fucking Silent Bob fall again. Not just in his career, literally this time. It was a blast, man. For those that don't know, last year we made this movie called Tusk, and my daughter had a very small part in it. After the movie was done, I said, I want to make a whole movie about the character she played alongside of her friend. So I was like, let me blow it up into a big feature, and we made this movie, Yoga Hosers. I actually, when I leave here tomorrow morning, I go up to Toronto and show the folks at the Toronto Film Festival the movie, hoping that they program it, and that's where we'll have our world debut. So after this, man, I'm hoping for some good carnage. But the experience making the flick with a kid, like, honestly, it brought me back to filmmaking. Like, suddenly that was fun. Like, the notion of doing that. I've never been a guy that's kind of, built his career on, like, what would work and be successful? It's generally been stuff that I'm like, what would make me happy? And lately, that's all I care about. My career's gotten real masturbatory, man, where it's just like, well, this will please me, and, on the screen and shit. Tusk, So I get it, it's not for everybody and stuff like that, but nothing I've ever done has ever been for everybody. I need to constantly remind myself of that. We live in the internet age and stuff, so you wake up in the morning feeling pretty good about yourself, and somebody's like, you're a talentless fuckhole, and you're like, fuck, they're right, And then you remember, no, I've done some shit, and then maybe that didn't connect with somebody, maybe something else did and stuff. So, I've reached a place doing this 21 years where I'm comfortable enough to be like, well, let me honor what got me here in the first place. I didn't get here by trying to manage a career or something like that. I got here because the first thing I wanted to do was make Clerks. And I was like, I gotta tell this story. If I don't fucking tell it, I'm gonna die. And so I made that, and it opened up the door for me and gave me a career and shit. And then once you get a career, it becomes weird because you try to protect it. You don't want to lose it. Especially once somebody's like, we're gonna pay you to make pretend for a living. You never want that to go away. That's like somebody going, we're gonna pay you to get blown for a living. Yeah. Which I'm looking for that job next, man. But so, when you get the job, you never want to let it go. And there's a point in my career where I started to really try to figure out what people wanted to see, and that way lies misery for any artist and stuff. You can't predict what's ever gonna work at the box office. So, why even bother trying? And some people, you can safeguard it. You'd be like, well, I can put movie stars in it and make movies that people want to see, and don't put fucking walruses in it and shit. There's lots of people that make those movies and stuff. And I always kind of felt like, somewhere in the middle of my career, and then definitely now, I was like, wow, like, there are very talented people that make the movies that the mainstream want to see and stuff. The only movie I'm really interested in making is the movie nobody wants to make and shit. Like, my fucking reward, Clerks 3, like she says. But for me it was like, I didn't make Clerks with this idea of like, let me start my career. I made Clerks because I was like, I just want to see it so fucking badly. Like, I loved comedy so much. Animal House is my favorite comedy of all time when I was a kid, but I didn't identify with any of the characters. Flounder a little bit because it was fat. But Bluto, I would love to have identified with John Belushi's character, but it's like, I could never drink that much Jack Daniels. And so there was always a disconnect. And I always wanted to see characters up on screen look more like me and my friends. Like, they got close with the John Hughes movies, but all those kids were rich, and I never understood why they had problems, man. Because we were eating government cheese. I'm like, your biggest problem is who to go to the prom with? Fuck you. So I love those movies, and I love the dialogue, but I never saw me or my friends up there and shit. And so, while watching movies my whole life, I was always like, why don't they make movies about me and my friends? Not us particularly, but the kind of shit we find funny. How come nobody makes movies where all they do is sit around and talk about pussy and Star Wars? Man? Like, that would be the So, I think about that all the time, and we'd go to movies, me and my friends and stuff, and I'd leave a movie theater after a movie going, yeah, it was good, but how come they didn't do this, or this, or how come they don't joke around like we do? Wouldn't it be funny if they did this, this, and this? And I guess I was kind of irritated to go to the movies with, because I couldn't just sit there and enjoy something. I was like, there's something in here that told me, do more than watch. It's very tempting to just become a spectator or a consumer, especially because they make so much fun fucking shit to watch now. But you can get lost there, man, particularly if there's a little boy society that's like, mate, don't just watch, you can do do that sometimes, but say something. So I realized, man, I had this weird moment in my life right before I made that first flick, where I had a snap, and common sense, I guess it was. I just grew up, where I had this moment where I was like, Kevin, nobody is ever gonna make a movie about you and your friends and the shit that you find funny. Nobody knows who the fuck you are, and even if they did, who gives a shit, man? If you really want to see a movie about the shit you and your friends find funny, you gotta make it yourself. And I did, and it was Clerks that started my career. So years later, we're sitting around on a podcast talking about this fucking dopey walrus story that we read online, where a guy was like, come live in my fucking mansion in Brighton, England. I'll give you a room for rent, free of charge. You're gonna have the run of the house. All you have to do, 2 hours a day, dress up like a walrus and not talk. You can only make the walrus noises that you can find online. I'm gonna pitch you some fish and crabs, and fucking at the end of 2 hours, that's it. And then fucking, that's all I need. And it was connected to this poignant story about a relationship this man had with a walrus when he was lost at sea. And so me and Scott Mosier on the podcast were like, fuck, that's hysterical. We thought it was real. We bought into it and shit. We started talking about it like, hey, don't ever fucking respond to this ad. And there were like hundreds of people going like, fuck, I'll wear the suit. Why not, man? Free fucking room. So we started joking about it going like, this is like the fucking human centipede. They just show up and shit. This guy's gonna turn you into the human walrus. Man, he's so good into a costume. And we were like, ha, 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 laughing to ourselves. And you can hear the podcast, episode 259 of this podcast, I start getting real tight where I'm like, I want to see this movie. How come this movie doesn't exist, man? I'd love to fucking watch a movie where some fucker turns another fucker into a walrus. That'd be amazing. Like where are all the brave filmmakers who will make that movie? And I remembered I used to be a brave filmmaker, so I was like, oh fuck, maybe I could do it. And you can hear me on the podcast start getting into the idea, like me and Scott are having fun like normal, but then all of a sudden I jump onto the serious track where I'm like, this could be a reality and shit like that. So I put out a hashtag in the podcast to the audience and said, if anybody wants to see me write this, go hashtag walrus yes, if not walrus no. And I left it kind of up to the audience. I liked it, I was into the idea, but I was like, look man, this is the people that are gonna go see it. It's not like I can convince people who don't know what I do for a living to go see a movie like this. So let me turn to the very people that fucking employ me on a regular basis and be like, hey, would you like to see it? Next morning there was like a bunch of walrus yes. There was one walrus no. And it was a guy who said, I'm really walrus yes, I'm just saying walrus no to support the democratic process. And sometimes that's all you need in life, man, is somebody just tell you you are smart and good. Whether it's true or not doesn't really matter, man. But when you're a kid, you get that all the time. Motherfuckers surround you and praise you for the littlest fucking things. Did you ever go to a T-ball game? I wish T-ball was invented when I was a child, man. I might be president right now. Because they make you fucking feel good when you're a kid. When you get to be an adult, most people are like, fuck you, you're on your own and shit. So it's always important to remember to tell people in life, you are smart and good. You're doing fucking something cool, man. A total stranger telling you that will go miles. A bunch of strangers saying it by taking the time to write that dopey hashtag, walrus yes. At that point, I was like, fuck it, how can I not do this? I want to do it. They think it'd be funny to do it. And granted, when the internet is like, yes, go do something, it's not really a strong vote of confidence, man. Like the internet telling you to go do something is like your friend when you're drunk at a party and you're like, I'm gonna pull my fucking cock out now. And they're like, do it. Send, But again, that's all you need. Sometimes total stranger be like, yeah, you should go for it and shit. And I thought about it. I had the same kind of mind snap